Welcome back. The coronavirus has deeply impacted students, and not just in the classroom. The college application process may seem particularly daunting this year.
To help navigate everything from tests to financial aid, we have former admissions officer at Barnard College, Columbia University, and co-founder of Expert Admissions, Bari Norman. Good morning, Bari. Nice to see you.
Same here. Nice to see you.
So first things first, for anyone watching, where should high school seniors be at this point in the application process?
So for high school seniors, your list should be either finalized or close to finalized. If you're applying anywhere early decision or early action with a November 1st deadline, those applications and essays should either be finished or pretty close to it. And then you also want to be checking on all those supplemental materials. So recommendations, transcripts, find out what the status of those are for your early schools. And then also make sure that if you're submitting test scores, that you need to submit them officially from the testing agency and what the deadlines are for materials, because that can also be different from the admissions deadline.
What about standardized tests? Obviously, because of the pandemic, a lot of the testing centers are closed.
Yeah, a lot of students haven't been able to test, and we have more than 70% of colleges this fall test optional. And test optional really does mean test optional. If you don't submit scores, you won't be penalized.
Okay.
At the same time, if you can give them scores that are in their range, or ideally at the high end of their range, that can benefit you. So it can be true, but at the same time that you won't be penalized if you don't submit scores, but that it can benefit you if you do. Mm-hmm. And so some students are going to go test optional because they were unable to test because of closures and test day cancellations, and others are going to be doing it purely for strategic reasons.
And what about essays and extracurricular activities? I feel like the extra activities are a little tough right now with the pandemic going on, but what should they demonstrate through the essay?
One thing that hasn't changed is that colleges want to see that you've been productive with your time. So it may look a little bit different than it would have had there been no pandemic, but colleges are always looking for students who are engaged and engaging in what they do. And so whether that's the same thing you were doing in the spring and it looks a little bit different now, or you've pivoted to something completely different, that's okay. It might not be as curated as it would have been, but don't worry about it. As long as you've stayed engaged, as long as you've been productive with your time, you'll be good to go. This wasn't a free pass on extracurriculars, though, which some students thought so at the beginning.
Bari, we only have about a minute left, but I have to ask you about the other big component of this process, and that's financial aid. It's so, it's a big investment. What do we need to know? What do parents need to know?
It's important to reach out directly to financial aid officers. You can give the same forms to 5 different schools and get 5 different packages. So people are very aware of the admissions process. Do your due diligence on the financial aid side as well, so you know where you're applying and what possibly to expect from each school. So I would encourage you to reach out to financial aid officers. Make sure you also submit your forms earlier rather than later. Unlike admissions deadlines, where it ordinarily doesn't matter so much when you're submitting, it's important to submit early for financial aid. And then finally, if financial aid is going to be a strong consideration in your decision-making process, I would encourage students to wait it out through regular decision. Don't apply early decision where you'll be bound to attend. Compare your financial aid offers, and then maybe even negotiate from there.
Good point.
Bari, these were amazing tips. Thank you so much for walking us through this.
My pleasure, and good luck to everybody.
Thank you. Now we just have to do it for preschool.
Yeah.
For Calvin. Okay, for more information regarding the college admissions process this year, check it out on thirdhourtoday.com. We'll be right back.